World War I, a conflict that shattered empires, redrew borders, and altered the course of history. But while the world focused on the battlefields of Europe, a quieter yet monumental shift was happening in the far north. Finland, a small nation sandwiched between the Russian Empire and Scandinavia, was on the brink of its own revolution. This is the story of how WW1 became the unexpected catalyst for Finland's dramatic political transformation. For over a century, Finland was an autonomous Grand Duchy under the Russian Empire, a reluctant piece in the Tsar's massive puzzle. But under the surface, Finnish society was bubbling with change. Nationalism was growing, as were the calls for independence. Still, for many years the Finnish people were at the mercy of Russian rule, particularly the Tsar's attempts to Russify the region, making Finnish life, culture, and governance more like Russia's. But by 1914, the world was about to change in ways no one could have imagined. When the First World War began, Finland was dragged into the chaos, not as an independent nation, but as a distant outpost of the Russian Empire. Finnish men were conscripted into the Russian military, fighting in battles that had little to do with their homeland. The economic strain hit Finland hard. Food shortages, unemployment, and political instability became part of everyday life. Discontent was growing fast. The Russian government's focus on the war effort meant fewer resources for its territories like Finland, and dissatisfaction with Russian rule escalated. Then came the moment that would change everything. The Russian Revolution of 1917. The Tsar was overthrown, and with the rise of the Bolsheviks, chaos engulfed the empire. Finland saw an opportunity. If Russia was weak, maybe it was finally time to break free. And so on December 6, 1917, Finland declared independence, ending over 100 years of Russian rule. But independence wasn't the end of the story, it was only the beginning. Finland was now caught between two ideologies, socialism and conservatism. The Bolshevik Revolution in Russia had sparked socialist movements across Europe, and Finland was no exception. This clash would soon spiral into one of the darkest periods in Finnish history. In January 1918, just weeks after gaining independence, Finland was plunged into a brutal civil war. On one side were the Reds, inspired by socialism and supported by the Russian Bolsheviks. On the other were the Whites, representing the conservative nationalists who wanted to preserve Finnish independence without falling into the grip of socialism. The conflict was brief but violent, with over 30,000 people losing their lives. The political shift was seismic. Within the span of just a few years, Finland had gone from a province under Russian control to an independent nation charting its own destiny. But the legacy of that shift and the internal conflict that came with it would shape Finnish politics for decades to come. Despite the turmoil, the Finnish people had secured their freedom. Today, Finland stands as a testament to resilience and determination. Its journey to independence was anything but smooth, marred by war, division, and uncertainty. Yet from the ashes of World War I and the Russian Revolution, Finland emerged stronger than ever, forging a path that would see it become one of the most stable and prosperous nations in Europe. And that is the story of how World War I, an event that seemed so distant from the Finnish people, became the catalyst for their independence. From political turmoil to civil war, Finland's journey to freedom was as complex as it was inspiring. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more stories that shaped our world. And remember, history is never as far away as it seems.